Good afternoon. Today's debate resolution is resolved. Mr. Tobin is not too obsessed with Stevie Nicks. Let us meet today's debaters. Introduce yourself when I call out your position. First, affirmative constructive.
Maria Rodriguez.
Second, affirmative constructive.
Minty Vivaro.
Affirmative cross-examiner slash rebuttalist.
Anthony Gomez.
Next, first, negative constructive.
Good afternoon. Mr. Tobin.
Second, negative constructive.
Nick Josh.
Negative cross-examiner slash rebuttalist.
We're both going to maybe ask questions, and Nick will do the rebuttal.
Speaks very well.
Each constrictive, it says, but I think it means constructive, gets up to 4 minutes each. Cross-examiners get 2 minutes each. The rebuttalist gets up to 3 minutes each. Each side gets to break up 4 minutes of preparation time to use as they see fit. The timekeeper will hold up an orange paper to signify 2 minutes left, then 1 minute left, then 30 seconds left, and will call out time when the stopwatch hits 0. Let us start with the forced affirmative constructive. The time will start. How much prep time does the negative cross?
You gotta wait for them to go, and then you ask.
Okay.
Don't jump. You can stand. Well, so I'll stand.
I guess you can stand.
Everyone. It's been a few years since we've done this. Okay. So we, the affirmative, affirm that Mr. Tobin is not too obsessed with Stevie Nicks. So I was at the edge of 17 when I met Mr. Tobin, and I am here to say that he is in fact obsessed with Stevie Nicks. However, the resolution is not whether he is obsessed with Stevie Nicks, it's whether he is too obsessed with Stevie Nicks. And we agree that he is not too obsessed, he's just the right amount. So we, the affirmative, we value passion. And we all know that it's difficult to be passionate as a New York City public high school teacher, especially at Newtown. So naturally, Mr. Tobin has funneled his passion into a specific lady, Miss Stevie Nicks. Now, too obsessive would be attending Night of 1,000 Stevies. And this is an event where people come together and they dress up in Stevie outfits. Mr. Tobin has never expressed this level of obsession. He has never gone to this event. And that has nothing to do with the fact that he can't pull off a 10-inch blonde wig, leather or lace dresses. And it's not like he plans to go to the event that's held this Friday at 17 Irving Place, New York City, from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. It's not going. Now, too obsessive would be buying all the merchandise available at a Stevie concert. No, Mr. Tobin has always limited himself to one shirt and one keychain. And that is only because, for what it's worth, the keychains were to ensure students heard him coming down the Newtown hallways. And the shirts were simply because he just struggles to dress himself every day. Now, too obsessive would be not making lesson plans because you're too busy counting the hairs on Stevie Nicks' head from her album cover. No, Tobin has never failed to make lesson plans because of Stevie. It takes a long time to write lesson plans. He failed to write those lessons plans because he simply didn't want to. Now, as to the thousands of pictures and videos that Mr. Tobin has of Stevie, we all know that Mr. Tobin is a man of few words. And he simply needs those pictures and those videos to describe the impossible task that is a Stevie experience. It is not obsessive, it's smart communication. Now, we also value inspiration. Mr. Tobin would give Stevie Nicks questions on exams. Think about it. Newtown students were not the classiest, so we just needed some inspiration to broaden our horizons. Tobin once showed me one or two, they were 50 photos of Stevie Nicks' nostril. But that was purely educational. See, I want to be an attorney, and I'm prone to taking my clients' money for cocaine purposes. But because of Tobin, I will not landslide through that problem. Now, Tobin also plays Stevie's CDs in his car every day for 2 months so he can learn the lyrics. But that's not his fault. He's just an old man. He doesn't realize the lyrics are online. And now, in 2012, Mr. Tobin entered a Stevie video concert contest using his students. And that was something exquisite.
Oh yeah, I was in that video.
To be fair, I didn't know that students were talented, but Mr. Tobin, he does inspire students to reach for fame, even if that is an unrealistic goal. And if you ever did believe Mr. Tobin was too obsessive, the affirmative would like to conclude by showing how Mr. Tobin should be commended for just his right amount of obsession. Stevie has accepted and encouraged Mr. Tobin's advances. It's true that he believes Stevie wrote a line of the song.
It's been 4 minutes.
No! All right, I'll conclude. In conclusion, Tobin is in fact obsessed with Stevie, but he's not too obsessed. He's just the right amount. And to prove that, I want you all to look around the room, and I want you to look at what Mr. Tobin is wearing. And if he's obsessed with anything too much, it's clearly the color orange.
Oh, yeah!
How much prep time does the negative cross-examiner require?
Are they like too obsessed? Too obsessed and not too obsessed? Yeah.
I'll do it. Let's do it.
Does that no prep time?
No prep time.
Are you mad?
No.
That box.
Next negative cross-examiner will have 2 minutes to ask the first affirmative 2 minutes of questions.
Okay, use your values as passion and inspiration.
Correct.
But when you think of passion, what else could be over the top besides of what you say? You said about 1,000 and the night of 1,000 Stevies. Well, usually that was on a Friday night, and because I don't go out to do social things, would other examples be used besides 1,000 nights of Stevie that I'm not able to attend, which I would normally attend? What else can you think of just passionate but not over-passionate? What's another passion about Stevie that you can come up with? Or over-passionate?
Over-passionate?
Right, you said that would be an
Obsessive.
example. Obsessive, yeah, well, obsessive.
Throwing orange underwear at her on stage.
Would anything else orange come under obsessive besides orange underwear?
No.
So you would not look at anything else orange. How about if I threw, let's say, my name and address at her? Would that be sort of obsessive in your opinion?
It would be obsessive, but not over-obsessive.
Would that, so what would be over-obsessive?
The underwear would be over-obsessive.
So let's say if I gave Stevie Nicks a baseball with my name, address, and telephone number on it, that would still, according to you, just be obsessive?
Yes.
How much?
30 seconds.
The other thing you said was inspiration. The fact that you say that I've not been overly obsessive with the inspiration. Now, what would you define on playing a CD in a car to be over obsessive?
No, just bad memory.
No, I'm not talking about just being Steve. I was just saying that if you went in the car, let's say you're going cross country for 24 hours, and somebody would play the same CD over
That's
and
2
over
minutes.
again.
It's inspirational.
Do I ask the next
Yeah,
one?
you could ask.
How much prep time will the first negative require?
30 seconds.
All right.
Bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Aaron, play the debate song. Go. Keep going.
All set? 30 seconds. Okay, that's 30 seconds.
Fade.
Next, first negative constructive. The time will start when you begin.
All right, the affirmative tried to make the points that my obsessiveness is not overly obsessive by using passion and inspiration and not so much as just being overly passionate and overly inspirational. I tend to disagree with what the affirmative is contending. First of all, she mentioned about what I would dress. Now, I don't know any teacher, not in Newtown or anywhere else, who would make it go out of their way and put a shirt like this on and walk around school all day with a Stevie shirt, of which I've had many. Now, it was true that perhaps I've told Maria that all I got was a keychain and a t-shirt, but that's what I meant, Maria. We're not talking about the years that I went to Stevie concerts, of which there were 70 concerts I've been to over the years, that I did not just get a t-shirt. Sometimes I would go to the same tour several times. So what would I do? One concert I get one t-shirt, one keychain. Another concert, a second t-shirt, and something else. So it's not like all I did for one tour was get one shirt and one keychain. I just split up the shirts and the stuff I would get over several concerts over several days. I would say that's a little bit obsessive. On top of that, it was the same concert. People say, why do I go to see her 2 days in a row or 4 in a couple of months? It's the same songs. True. But if you're overly obsessive, who would count how many times she twirls around on the song Stand Back? One time she could do it 8 times, one time she could do it 6 times. It blew my mind. If that's not overly obsessive, I don't know what is. The affirmative also said something about my lesson plans, on how I took my lesson plans to heart, where I would go to a concert but still come up with a great lesson plan every day. Are you joking? I'd come home late at night. Do I have time to actually sit down at my computer and do a lesson plan? If you're my student, how many times do you see me really going off on tangents? If you were my student, how many times I'd be up at the board just writing things, looking at you without looking at anything?
Did Fika Lauren know about this?
Did I care that Mr. Lauren knew about this? If they would look at the lesson plan I actually had to show them that day, they might say, Mr. Tobin, why isn't this filled out? So it's hopefully obsessiveness that maybe I might have not had a lesson plan. Now, not to say, John, that I came in while you were AP and I didn't have any lesson plans prepared. I'm not going that far to say. Maybe during the 90s I might have had maybe a little bit more preparation, maybe. But the fact remains, though, is that a lot of Mr. Barrero he knows what my lesson plans used to look like sometimes. And he would laugh and say, if that's not obsessive, I don't know what is. People would say that I would go over, why 70 concerts? Why can't you take some of this money and maybe apply it to Lewis? And I said, well, Lewis goes to some of the concerts. So I think that, I've been overly doing this at times, where maybe I could have done more for Lewis than instead of schlepping him to a Stevie Nicks concert like I would do sometimes. To me, that's being overly obsessive.
So Tobin, how rich are you?
I hear that maybe some people have made the argument how rich I've been when I go. That was for us. How rich I am. I would make a regular teacher's salary, but I would do without to go to a Stevie Nicks concert. I think that for a person to do without, to do something that they've already gone to see several times already, might be overdoing it. And I think that may be a little bit overdoing it. And I still say going and playing a CD for 2 months straight at a time, although Lewis doesn't care sometimes, but I think that's also a little bit too obsessive.
Yeah.
Well, you went over time too. I stand for cross-examination.
How much time will the affirmative cross-examiner? No time?
Oh.
Okay. Next affirmative cross-examiner will have 2 minutes of questioning the first negative.
So the first question I have for you is, in all the car rides over 4 years that I was with you, I never heard a Stevie Nicks song. All I heard was WF whatever the fan in baseball. So how obsessed can you be in all the years that you gave me your rides home after these late debate meetings that I never heard Stevie Nicks in your car, ever? I only heard the fan. I only heard the fan. So you can't be that obsessed.
You're not allowed to
The time that I would
drive.
have the Stevie Nicks songs on is when Maria said when the new CDs would come out, and I'd have to listen to it for 2 months to make sure I knew the lyrics. When I was taking you in the car, how many new CDs was she coming out with at that time? In the 1990s, she did not come out with a lot of new music for a long time. Yes.
Okay, just looking around the room though, we see no pictures of Stevie Nicks, but I do see the Yankees up there. And I'm just saying, you know, it seems to me you're more obsessed with the Yankees than you are Stevie Nicks, so you can't be that obsessed with Stevie Nicks.
This debate is not about the Yankees. I think that if this debate was about being too obsessed with the Yankees, you'd have a case that I might be too obsessed with the Yankees at times. The reason why you do not see Stevie Nicks stuff is because I couldn't get that done on personalizationmall.com in time to put something up with Stevie Nicks. So I myself decided, I got this shirt last week, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to break in this.
We got 2 minutes here. Next question. Next question.
Oh, that's not 2 minutes yet?
No.
30 seconds.
Next question. You've gone to all these concerts, but you've never been arrested. It's not like you've been like stalking her. I'm just saying that would define too obsessive.
How do you know?
Is there a restraining order like this?
One time, I had to drive 8 hours to go see her in Wisconsin. And it was
That's
really...
2 minutes.
No, let him finish the story.
Can I ask me again on the next?
Finish the story.
I never seen that on the news.
I got out of the concert at 11:30 at night, which meant that I had to drive all night back to Illinois State. I get in my car to leave Alpine Valley, Wisconsin. This guy in front of me had 5 big men in the car. We were at a red light. They went a little bit at the light and they slammed on their brakes. What was I going to do? I hit them! Now, it's the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, 5 big dudes are in the car. What am I supposed to do? Say, oh, why didn't you stop? And I went. Well, you said about being arrested. Well, if there was a cop there, I could have got arrested.
Okay, that's good.
All right, next.
How much time would the second affirmative require?
Go, Aaron.
Okay.
Go, Aaron.
What did you do?
Nothing.
They went on
They
their
went on
way.
the
told her to
stop
scoot it up.
stop.
But you went on your way.
On my way.
Oh, you want to get killed?
I was looking at my shoulder the whole time.
That's scary.
I got back 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you got back. That's scary.
Alan, you know you're going to lose a lot of your pension now. You're going to read this new lesson.
Okay, that's 30 seconds. The time will start when the second affirmative begins.
Okay, first, we haven't defined what obsession is. Now, obsession actually means that it's a persistent, disturbing preoccupation with an often unreasonable idea or feeling about one single thing. Now, Mr. Tobin just told us, if it was about the Yankees, he would agree he's obsessed. How can you be obsessed about 2 different things? When I just defined obsession as being an often unreasonable idea or feeling about pertaining to one thing. So let's get that clear. You could be overly ecstatic about her, but you can't be obsessed. And if you are, you're not obsessed about the Yankees also. Now second, the average concert goer goes to 2 concerts per year. Tobes has gone to 70 concerts in 36 years. That's 1.5. So I don't see it as being overly obsessed.
No, I
1.5 concerts, we usually go to more than that. A fan is somebody who admires a person and enjoys watching and listening to that person very much. And that's what he says that he does. And that's fine. Something that is overly obsessive about that. Then we say that he's never had a restraining order against her. Think about it, when you think about somebody who's obsessed, that's a restraining order, that's somebody that you see on the news. All right, yeah, he likes orange, he walks around with her t-shirts and stuff like that. If I paid that much money for a t-shirt at a concert, I'm gonna wear it too. Okay, I'm gonna be out there, I'm gonna be rocking it, I'm gonna tell you who I like, I'm gonna wear all the Yankee stuff, I'm gonna do the orange. This is normal. This is normal obsession. There's nothing unreasonable, there's no reason why he was, let go or something because he's overly obsessed and does his courses and totally talks about her all the time. That's normal. That's okay. It's just a fan. And then he has a great wait, what else did you say? Oh, and then yeah, I am a little rusty. Then we go back to him listening to Stevie Nicks in the car. Back in the day when you didn't have the internet on your phone and you stared at it and you knew all the lyrics and you went to karaoke and stuff, what did you do? You played the same song over and over until you understood it. If you admire that person, you're going to really understand what their lyrics meant. So this is things that you do. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We all do it. He likes all her songs though, so he's going to listen to the whole entire CD over and over. There's nothing obsessive about that. He just said in the 90s when she didn't come out with a concert, he wasn't listening to her over and over. No, he was obsessed about the Yankees because the Yankees were doing very well those years. So if he's able to go back and forth to different things, he's not obsessed about one individual thing. That does not mean that he has an obsession. He's definitely not too obsessed with it. It's just a passion. He takes Stevie Nicks, puts it in his courses and classes, and tries to inspire the students through music. As you see, people like music up in here. What's wrong with that? That's all I really have. Thank you.
All right. How is the second negative? Yeah. How much prep time does the second negative require?
1 minute.
All right. Oh, sorry. I didn't say that, but I guess that's what I meant. Okay.
See, that's not obsessive. What? Should I dance all here? It's just about
All right, the minute. Cross-examination, 2 minutes.
So I heard you say in your argument that you said, how can you be obsessed with two different things? Wouldn't it be fair to say that a lot of people are obsessed with more than one thing in their life? For example, like, a lot of girls in the early 2000s could be obsessed with NSYNC, and then 10 years later maybe are obsessed with Usher or something else. Like, isn't it possible that people can have like a lot of obsessions at one time?
No, actually the definition of obsession is that you are preoccupied with an often an unreasonable idea or feeling, one single thing. That's the definition of obsession. So no, you cannot be obsessed at two different things at the same time, by the definition.
Splash.
Doom, doom, doom.
You'll do that in Rome.
But if you look around the room, isn't it true that there's not only a lot of orange in here, but just the fact that we were listening to her perform a Stevie Nicks song, like, doesn't that show both Yankees and Stevie kind of in one room?
Oh no, he's a fan. Oh, we established that he is a fan. We established that he is currently obsessed with Stevie because she's coming out with a new album. We established that, yes. He's just not too obsessed. Something that leads to a medical disorder, which is obsession.
When did obsession become a medical disorder?
Is defined in Webster's dictionary.
Yep.
There you go.
Google. Can I say something? Can I say something? It's not a medical disorder, it's a psychological disorder.
I'm sorry.
I should be opening my right?
That's 2 minutes.
I'm a biology teacher. It's psychological, it's not medical. It's not physiological.
How much prep time is the second negative?
I'm very smart.
You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
You guys are good.
Minute? All right.
Classical gas. Ah. We're now listening to classical gas.
We should put that on that
All right, that's a minute. Second negative will have 4 minutes, and we'll start when he begins.
Debate on whether or not you should get chocolate or not.
Read the negative to confirm that Mr. Tobin is too obsessed with Stevie Nicks, and speaking to our values of accountability and rationality, which were our two values, I'd like to quote Stevie Nicks herself, quote, "We all really basically have a lot of magic. It's only those of us who choose to accept it that really understand it." So really, Stevie's establishing something for our values, that obsession actually begets a lack of rationality. As anyone here who's ever been to a Tobin Debate meeting knows, coming from anyone other than Stevie herself, Tobin would cringe at any use of the word basically, which she likes to correct and say the B word, don't say the B word, for any reason. It is not rational to overlook such a firmly held belief against filler words in public speaking, even if it is from Stevie Nicks. Now, Tobin did set forth in his opening argument that he has gone above and beyond, sometimes with reckless abandon, to attend more Stevie concerts probably than even some of her road crew, incurring even as much as over $1,000 in credit card debt, which took him several years to catch up on. And also, this is something that somebody who is not too obsessed wouldn't do, is consistently not only show up, but try to catch attention, and even giving her gifts, which he remembers because he's been to so many concerts that she would actually put these orange roses that he gave her onto the mic stand, which I think she actually did at a few of the concerts.
She knew you?
Now, fandom, like the affirmative said, you know, fandom sometimes can just be fandom, but we have to draw the line between where fandom becomes obsession, and I believe that obsession is the point between when your fandom actually turns into disruption from the things that, you know, my value of accountability, what we're supposed to do versus what we actually do. Now, the second affirmative did say that you can be overly ecstatic but not obsessed. Now, the reason I disagree with this is because there was one point where Stevie actually made Tobin wait his turn to speak at some event she was at. And now, he may not have played her songs all the time when he was in the car with Anthony. But there are some people which you know you're going to be comfortable talking about it with, and then, but if you're talking to somebody who's really more into sports, it's going to end up being sports conversations. But that doesn't mean when he was alone in the car that he wasn't listening to it all the time. Now I say that playing the CDs over and over again in the car, that can become obsessive, not to mention the fact that I personally got a message on Facebook from Tobin, and I didn't even know about this because I was late to watching American Horror Story, and he was the first one to remind me that Stevie Nicks was going to make a guest appearance. And I can barely remember a conversation in the last few years where we didn't get onto Stevie or the music. I'm sorry about that.
45 seconds.
So, it was funny, the affirmative said that listening to all those CDs is just because one has a bad memory, but I can actually attest to the fact that there were some artists where I would let the song play over and over again on rides to and from work, you know, not just because I couldn't remember the lyrics, but because obsession kind of leads to this euphoria when you like something that much. That's really all I have.
Okay. How much prep time will the affirmative cross-examiner require?
I'll take 30 seconds.
All right, 30 seconds.
Okay, so we'll take this one off. Down the out, right over there. It's going to be more than 30 seconds. But I shouldn't check that. Okay, thanks for that. You gotta get a little bit more than 30 seconds. So you'll really come back. So, you're good? Oh, you're good?
I'm good. Whenever he comes back.
This doesn't usually happen in debate, where a debate has to run out of the room and come back. It doesn't usually happen. One time, a debater fainted, but that was something else. Not my debate. It was like in a different debate, I saw somebody just keel over. But that was something else.
Find something interesting down there?
Just taking a picture of the empty chair.
Oh.
It's called filler, baby.
So I think the debate's gone very well. Interested to see what everybody's going to say at the end. So what you should be doing now is thinking about how the debate's going. There's one more round of conclusion, and then you have to decide who wins the debate and write down on the white paper what you feel were the biggest points that were made in the debate.
Can I ask you a question? Who wrote all these things down? Is this all scripted?
Now,
that they wrote it? That talking out of their own mind?
When he said anything about driving students in his car, which is totally a fireable offense.
Brilliant.
You never heard that.
They're brilliant. Hurry up. Hurry up.
Oh.
Where should go now?
All right. Affirmative cross-examiner will now have 2 minutes.
So our first question is, I should have been more specific to your knowledge based on what you mentioned there. Has Mr. Tobin ever been arrested for being like in a hotel room, like breaking into it or anything?
I sure hope not.
So you say that would be obsessive, wouldn't it?
Well, no, that's actually beyond obsession. That would be at a Charles Manson. That's like, yeah.
Now, I mean, a very good information. I think this is a relevant source. My old biology teacher said that's actually a psychological disorder. Does he look like he suffers from any psychological disorders to you?
I don't think everyone would outwardly show a psychological disorder.
With obsession? I mean, obsession by definition is you can't function, you're fixed on this. He goes to work, or he was going to work, he's retired now. He's clothed, he's not starving. He definitely had, would you agree that he does other things?
He does other things.